Hey guys, how's it going? This is going to be my first ever video review on really anything that I own. I work from home, I have my own online business, and so I have a lot of free time. And one of the things that I've taken an interest in the last few months is quadcopters. And what I want to show here is basically a lineup of the quads that I own, and kind of talk a little bit about them, which ones I like, which ones I don't like. And so when I first started, I went to a company here in San Diego called Easy Drone, and I bought something custom built similar to this that had a camera similar to this monstrosity of a quad that I've been playing around with. The Tiny Whoop, as you all know, started off with a company called Blade Inductrix, and it was kind of the thing that I think really put the whole micro quad movement in order. And so it's great, it's underpowered, great to get into, I guess, the sport, if you want to call it, of FPV quads, FPV flying. The first quad that I actually bought was the DJI Mavic here. This thing's fantastic. It's insane. Has amazing capabilities for what you are paying in terms of range capabilities. And when coupled with this guy, which I have, I don't know if you can see it, I have one of those IT Elite range extenders on it, and the signal penetration on this in urban areas where there's a lot of Wi-Fi is phenomenal. And I recently just did a modification that allows you to fly above the 500 meter restriction. Not that I do, but now you can go as high as you can go. Pretty cool. I'll talk more about this setup that I have, the holder, how to do the install in another video, but just talking about the quads in general. The Mavic is what got me into it. Really awesome again in terms of capabilities and features, functionality, range, flight time. But as you get better at flying with this, you start to realize you're very limited in terms of maneuverability, and you start seeing videos of bigger setups like this doing stunts and inversions and acro and all that fun stuff. And so these are two totally different beasts. These guys are all very much on their own, and this is very much on its own. This is more of a tool, photography, videography, recon if you want to do it for surveying land, etc., etc. These guys are really, they're more or less toys at this point. So limited battery life in terms of flight time. This one, if I fly very tame without a GoPro on it, I can get 9 minutes out of it. This little micro brushless drone, I can get realistically about 4 minutes out of it if I fly it pretty tame. If I push this one, you're looking at 3 minutes. If I push this one, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So not a super long flight time. So out of all these, what do I like the most? I'm gonna have to say this guy right here. And so this is made by Gnarly FPV. It's called the Guppy. It's a 60 millimeter brushless quad. I put a little Velcro strap on it for the battery, and I freaking love this thing. My dog loves it too. I actually snapped the arm off on it. I don't know if you can see where that super glue is, but I patched it and it's back up and running. I like this because it has the power that I need to do the acro that I want. I live along the coast and we get a lot of wind, and so if there's wind outside, this is able to, I guess, defeat that wind, or can fly in wind much better than these Tiny Whoops that I have. These ones even outfitted with the insane motors. I have some made by Crazy Pony, and then I had some made by, I think Lumineer. They were like the insane ones. Still had a hard time navigating in the wind. They're so darn light. Really fun, but limited in terms of power. This one I have here is a QQ190. It's made by Quad Questions as well as TBS, Team Black Sheep. I think it was like they did it as a joint project. Amazing, amazing quad. This was actually the first real acro quad that I got. And I have crashed this thing a ton of times. I mean, I can't believe that it's actually still all in one piece. This thing's fallen from 100 feet before. You know, the arm lodged into the ground, bent all these props back. I pulled the arm out and, you know, put a new one on, straightened it out. I was good to go. So this thing makes a ton of power. It runs off 4S. I run it with 1300 milliamp batteries, and I'm using it now to kind of hone in on my line of sight flying, and it's really fun, really powerful, but you know, I can't really fly this in my backyard very well. I have a lot of open space, but I'm also surrounded by houses. I have dogs, and it's just you have to go somewhere to fly this one. You know, you gotta pack your stuff up, go somewhere to fly it, and so that's a time commitment. That's time that you have to invest into taking this somewhere dedicated to fly responsibly and fly safely. This little guy and these little guys right here, you know, I can fly this in my house, I can fly it in the backyard, I can navigate around the picnic table, you know, you name it. The house is basically a mini race course. It allows me to continue developing my flight capabilities, my skills with the joysticks, etc., etc. And so they get a lot more use. I actually built this one intentionally without a camera to become my indoor line of sight quad. It has had a drastic impact on my line of sight abilities just because of the amount of time that I get to spend with it. I'll fly this sometimes 30 times in a day, just doing very standard maneuvers, trying to get used to orientation, the muscle feedback and memory of where it was going, and yeah, drastic improvement. But overall, out of all these quads that I own currently, which is not many, definitely at this point, the Guppy. This thing is just, it's freaking fun, honestly. That's all I can say. It's the same size, you know, as a Tiny Whoop. You can fit it in the same hard case that I have as a Tiny Whoop, which is going to be this thing right here. And so it's ultra portable, ultra compact, plenty of power, and yeah, I mean, that's just, what more do you want? You know, you can do all the acro stunts that you want. You can fly this in an open space around other people, and it's not going to be so loud that it's, you know, imposing on people's sense of whatever they're doing. Whereas, you know, this unit, this thing, as with any other large quad, including the Mavic, it makes its presence known, you know. And so if you want to take this thing, the Guppy, to any park, you're not going to be rubbing people the wrong way. You can barely hear the thing, honestly, once it gets going. So yeah, check out my forum. I'm at www.gearnet.com. I talk a little bit more about these, a little more in depth. I kind of give some thoughts, what I like. I expand upon this video a little bit more. And yeah, stay tuned. I will be putting more stuff out in the near future. Thanks for looking. Bye.